$250,000 bonus for the HSBC chairman Douglas Flint. In response, the bank has backed down, halving the payment. William Wright is an investment banking columnist at Financial News. So, William, what kind of bonus can Mr. Flint now expect to receive?
I think he can still expect to receive a very generous bonus from most people's perspective. But I think one of the ways of looking at this is that a row over bankers' bonuses is never going to look good, particularly ahead of a shareholder meeting, and in the context of ongoing investigations and scandals in the banking sector. And also in this instance, the potential bonus to Douglas Flint as chairman of HSBC looks more like a chief executive style bonus in terms of scale. But I think instead you could actually...
Just over $2 million, it would have been potentially.
Originally it was going to be, I think, $2.25 million. That could potentially have doubled his total pay. And they've rode back on that, and they're proposing that he could be eligible for a bonus of up to £1 million.
So what we're seeing is compromise. I mean, in a sense, the new structure is working, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is what potentially active, engaged shareholder democracy should look like, which is that a company comes up with a proposal, they take it out to shareholders, they consult with shareholders, and you have a discussion and you have a compromise on the table. What you don't want is for this to sort of bubble over and lurch between a North Korean style 99% vote on every single motion of the AGM,
which is how for decades most of these things work.
And you look at the results, people talking about a shareholder spring and a shareholder summer. You look at a lot of the results from AGMs through this season, and a lot of them are 99% votes.
We have had some notable exceptions. Barclays and Standard Chartered Bank obviously stand out as ones in which we did see a sort of shareholder summer underway.
And examples of where something clearly has broken down in the consultation process, that you get to the actual meeting itself, 40% of shareholders voted against pay policy at Standard Chartered, and a quarter of them voted against it at Barclays. And I think maybe we have to wait and see what happens at the AGM today with HSBC. There could still be a vote despite this climb down of the chairman's bonus. There are still aspects of HSBC's pay policy, particularly around payments to get around the bonus cap, that shareholders are still pretty unhappy with. But somewhere in between, where you have discussion and dissent and disagreement that is not necessarily sort of bubbling over into hostility, is a healthy development.
Should be very interesting indeed. Thank you, William Wright, investment banking columnist at Financial News.
Now it's just in 23 minutes past 7. He's one of the greatest drummers of all time, Stuart Copeland, of fame, of course, with the Police, but after they broke up in the 80s, he established himself as a successful composer, momentum, and in opera and ballet. Well, tonight is the premiere of his latest work. It's a concerto for percussion and orchestra commissioned by the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra, and our arts correspondent Rebecca Jones went to Liverpool. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's an exciting piece. It has rhythm. Hopefully it will light up in a couple of ways.
Did you say, I just want to rock the joint?
Yes, rocking the joint would be a good thing to do. Back in the 30s, one of the first percussion concertos was written by Edgar Varese. It's a headache. Some modern composers have attempted this as well. They write these difficult pieces to push back the frontiers, and I applaud them for that. Now that they've pushed back the frontiers, I'm going to write some cool stuff that's fun to play and enjoyable to listen to, and hopefully we'll get your foot to it. And in this instance, the percussion guys get to rule.
So do I take it from that you think percussion is sometimes overlooked in the orchestra?
Well, I suffer the same insecurity that every drummer has, and we share this insecurity with the singers. We both have the insecurity that we're not really sure if we actually are musicians. In the singer's case, because they don't know the names of any of the notes, they just know the words to the song and can carry a tune. Down at the other end is the drummer who doesn't actually play notes, he just bangs stuff. It's just banging, clattering, and the insecurity makes us think so.
And it was as a drummer that Stuart Copeland made his name with the Police.
Such an exciting time and such an all-consuming activity. Being in a band on the rise like that, you have no time for life, which is why we broke the band up, so that we could have lives. We were in a golden cage, and we had to melt down the golden cage.
When you were playing with the Police, were you thinking, actually, I wish I was composing modern classical pieces?
No, one of the joys of playing with a band, all I got to do is think about drums, and that's quite engaging. But yes, there was a frustration. I've got so much more to say. There was orchestral music going through my head, stuff that you just can't do with a rock band was going through my head during all those years before. Even though I had leather pants and a turned-up collar and generally hated the world, I still had Petrushka going through my head, and Ravel, and Debussy, and Karl Orff, and Aaron Copland. You know, that music was there the whole time, but it wasn't what I did.
Obviously, since you were playing with the Police, there's been a huge explosion of computer music, drum machines. I wondered how much that has changed pop music.
Oh, the computers have changed pop music a lot in a very, very good way because they've lowered the bar. And for every kid in a bedsit to be able to make music with his laptop is the real thing. It makes it hell to get ahead of the pack and to make an impact with your music. So music has gotten very easy to make, but much harder to sell. Net gain for society, I think.
You were voted the 7th best drummer of all time by fans of Rolling Stone magazine. Is 7th good enough?
Well, there was another poll which had me at number 5.
Oh.
One was the readers, one was the critics. I forget which was which, who cares. But the one that keeps coming up is the 7. Well, wait a minute. One of them had me at 5.
Musically, what else would you like to do?
Conduct.
Really?
I only would really have the training to conduct my own music, which is quite easy to conduct. But one day I'll get out the baton. There's a joke. Guy, drummer, I forget. Anyhow, conductor's a guy with just one drumstick.
Rebecca Jones.
Not on the drums, though.
No. Definitely Stuart Copeland there. 27 minutes past 7. Let's get some sport now with Rob.
Thanks, Michelle. Good morning to you. Well, English cricket's so-called new era has got off to a decent start, though the team's 81-run win against Sri Lanka in the first one-day international season was achieved under occasionally heavy skies at the Oval, and therefore Duckworth-Lewis calculations applied to a rain-affected match. Chris Jordan stood out for England with a heavy-hitting 38 and had 3 wickets. Here he is, preceded by his captain, Alistair Cook.
Yeah, I mean, he hit the ball incredibly cleanly. He always seems to hit the last ball for 6 in a one-day game and then walk off nonchalant. And then, he bowled, he probably struggled his first couple of overs and then had the break, and then he really set the tone for us.
At the end of the day, you have to deliver your skill to a very high level, and I'm just glad I was able to do it. Hopefully I can obviously keep my head down and do that on a more consistent basis for England.
Meanwhile, the England and Wales Cricket Board have charged 2 former Sussex cricketers, Vincent and match fixing. They face lifetime bans if found guilty of fixing a 40-over match between Sussex and Kent at home in August 2011, with Vincent also charged in relation to a 2020 match between Sussex and Lancashire in the same month. All this and this new season. Football lines for you. Neil Adams has been appointed as Norwich's new permanent manager on a 3-year contract after 5 games in charge at the end of this last Premier League season, in which he was unable to prevent the club from being relegated. And Craig Bellamy has announced his retirement from football at the age of 34. Former Newcastle, Cardiff and Wales striker says his body can't take it anymore. There's also, of course, the departure of Neil Lennon from his job as Celtic manager to report. He brought 3 premiership titles to the club in 4 years. This clearly is not a sacking. I think it's a really good time to go, he said. And what's more, he's going to help the club find a replacement, though whether it'll be Henrik Larsson, the club's former striker, the current bookie's favourite, remains to be seen. We're rather hoping to hear from Murdo McLeod about this, but we're having a few problems to get through to him, so we'll move on. Rory McIlroy. Oh no, we do have him in fact. Murdo is on the line. Good morning to you, Murdo. Is he there? Good morning, Murdo McLeod. Are you there?